me. That's not what that
Why on God's green earth would I hit you?
I don't know, but you was looking over here like, the fuck going on?
I was just so you were over there having a good time.
Do you feel like I don't know how to fight?
I've never actually seen you fight, Tony, so I don't know.
See, look, he coming at everybody. I feel like
that's what I feel like. I feel like
I said I don't know.
Like I feel like you can't fight with your whole
like
ass.
If I'm sitting here, if I am inside a situation of confrontation with you, I am confident that we are going to make it.
Woman.
We are going to make it out of this confrontation. Like,
Tony wanna fight too.
In the purity of fighting, no. Making it out of a confrontation in the street is a very different thing. Do I feel like, oh, well, this dude is getting too uppity. Tony's about to pick up this brick and hit him in the back of the head.
I mean,
it's just like,
but nah. Now we gotta fight for real because you insulted me.
That's not really an insult.
That's what happened. You've insulted me, so we gotta fight. As soon as I find an octagon,
why are you?
We can put on some.
Tony has been
gloves.
trying to fight me.
If you
We're
want
supposed
some
to be on a
pads,
higher plane of thought.
We are, and I will put.
This is a very Sam's Club conversation for conscious reconstruction.
No. I'm gonna bring your ass straight to this goddamn octagon, and we go fight because you got me fucked up.
You told me always trying to fight me.
Because what you
it's
just told
always
me,
the tiny people.
What you just told me is that because I want to fight, either A, I don't know how to fight.
I mean,
B, I'm always angry, or C, I'm trying to beef myself up. Bitch, I'll beat your ass.
It sounds like you're trying to vindicate yourself.
No,
I'm gonna fight you. No. See, what I'm going to do, we're not gonna talk about this no more. Next time you hear about this, I'm gonna have a place that we can go. Just so you know, because what you did is insult me.
That's not insulting. I said if we ended up inside a confrontation, I have every single bit of faith in you in terms of that type of fight.
Excuse me.
It's in terms of a pure octagon fight. It's not really within your realm of thing.
How do you know?
Like outside of the amount of time that you every single time I've spoken to you. What?
You're not making it better.
I mean, he said he's done some MMA training inside the Air Force when he actually went to an off base.
Anything about anybody just because I don't fight no beat, I won't fuck you up or at least try to.
So, let me preface this. My grandfather was a Golden Glove boxer.
Yeah, so is mine.
My grandfather is also the person that taught me how to fight.
So is mine.
Okay, so you can understand that I have a pretty good grasp of how to put my hands on you in a very efficient manner.
I mean, that's reasonable, but there are...
On top of that, I've actively sought out any type of combat training that I could get my hands on at all moments. I enjoy fighting.
I do not enjoy fighting at all.
It has nothing. I'm not angry. I'm not angry with it. I'm very happy.
I do not feel any kind of joy in fighting anyone because I feel like it
You're not
is.
Supposed to feel joy. Just because something enjoyable don't mean it's a feel of joy.
What?
Doing it.
I mean,
it sound like that was a joyful thing.
What I enjoy about fighting is inflicting damage on the opponent.
See, and that's like the worst part of fighting.
How?
Because there's you can inflict pain on somebody inside a multitude of ways and that aren't fighting. Like pain is just like the after effect of punching each other, but the art of actually going through and
understanding
the martial
how to
arts,
move.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. That is the art of it. It is just but the pain is just
the art is for when you're training. The pain and the dominance is for when you're in the ring against an adversary. Not an enemy, but an adversary.
I mean, I've won the martial arts competitions. I've hit the people. It's never really stuck with me in terms of that. I can do all the submissions. I can fight with I guess I'm what it's called. Well, I can fight with all of my appendages and all that other stuff because I've been trained with that and all the stuff. But it's just like I've never enjoyed actually inflicting the harm on other people. Now, will I inflict harm on people? Yes, if necessary.
That's all I'm about.
But
don't touch me.
It's gonna be necessary.
It's not really necessary.
I'm gonna figure out something. I'll find a way. Charles, I'm working on this.
Somebody up. Don't fucking. What are you trying to cause harm to like me or my family? Yes.
Why would I want to?
All Charles did was insult me and Ash for no reason.
For no I feel like you can't fight Ash.
I mean,
right, but I'll still fuck you up. I'll try, Charles. But I have a feeling that you won't try to like hurt me.
Yes, because why would I? Why would I ever get into the situation where I actually need to fight you, Ash?
I don't want to. No. Yeah, but if you like actively trying to, I don't want to fight dudes.
I can say I'm not classically trained in any martial art, but
not bad.
Pugilism is a martial art. It's the martial art of punching.
Well, then yes, I'm trained.
It's like
I'm trained in boxing, but
it is the
like beyond that
things.
No, but I'm really good at like my stand-up punch strike game. I've been in a lot of fights.
Yeah, I mean, being experienced at fighting and being good at it aren't necessarily the same thing.
I've been in a lot of fights, and I've not lost.
I've been in
because this is just
I've lost no fights where it was 1-on-1. The only time that it looked a little shaky is when I was getting jumped.
You be out here whipping bike pegs at people.
Hey, that was when I was younger, and I wasn't trying to fight then. I was trying to take his fucking head off because he had me fucked up. But yeah, no, we gotta. You know, I told you I'm not gonna talk about it. Where's my phone at? I'm about to start looking. You got me fucked up. Anyway, this is Conscious Reconstruction.
This is the
I was gonna start with a song, but I didn't even start it with a song because he insulted me for no reason.
I don't necessarily believe that it's an insult.
You know what, Charles?
It's like,
let me explain one thing to you.
What?
I think you have a misunderstanding about like the way the world works.
What?
How you feel about how I feel has no bearing on what I feel. So if I feel something was an insult, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. Because I felt it was insulting.
I am sorry that I insulted you.
You can't be like, well, I didn't feel that was insulting. That's cool that you didn't feel like the thing that you said to me, the person that feels insulted. Like, those things don't...
There's only two people. I've only ran into these two types of people. You could exist inside the third category, but you have to also understand enjoying inflicting pain on people also is not good.
You're right.
It's like,
I'm not portraying this as a good thing.
So it's just
I just understand that the most appropriate place for me to exercise that. But you know the other thing that
you don't do? Run around and say, I will fight you. Ash just threatened to fight me like...
That's not true. I'd say I'll fight people all the time. Ask Jones.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. I was here for those multiple times. Let's fight. And Jones would just be quiet and wouldn't entertain this nigga. I'm like, why don't nobody want to fight this nigga? He inviting y'all to fight.
Well, I mean...
Fight him.
Who seeks out fights purposefully?
This nigga. Give it to him.
I don't want to fight. It is not something like sparring is different from fighting.
Let's spar
with this nigga.
If I say let's spar, would that be better? Would that make you feel better?
You realize sparring also ensues that sparring is an educational exercise in which your aim is to actually get together and learn how to fight better together and not inflict harm upon the other person.
Yeah, I'm with that. Let's do that.
That's not what. You can't tell me I enjoy inflicting harm on people.
I do.
And then say, all right, let's spar.
But I'm also about the art of becoming more proficient at that. What?
Welcome to Conscious Reconstruction.
Are you mad that I'm okay with learning how to be better at the other thing that I enjoy doing? Why would that be something? I'm like, no, I don't want to learn how to do it better. What?
You already verbally spar with this nigga all the time. You might as well.
I mean, verbally sparring and physically sparring. I've physically sparred Who do I fight? I fight Carl on a regular basis, but that's...
Fight this nigga on a regular basis.
For
please.
what?
So he can stop. I want to see, number one. And number
See,
two.
that's the reason. No.
All right, I got a question.
What?
If I spar and you feel like I'm decent enough against Carl, then will you spar me?
It's not even about being decent. I
don't know what your issue is.
I just generically don't like fighting people.
But you'll spar Carl.
Because sparring Carl is a part of my actual... It's a part of class. It's me also teaching other kids how to fight. It's a multifaceted thing.
When's the last time you went to karate?
Last time it was actually a thing because of COVID, so it hasn't been a thing for about a year. It's a close contact thing that you can't do with COVID.
Was Carl going last year?
Carl hasn't really been going steady in a while.
'Cause that's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't think Carl's been keeping. That's why I was like, when's the last time
Like
you
me and
him?
Stan went a decent amount.
Cause I figured Stan was pretty active in it.
Stan's a second degree. I fight Stan a lot. I fight Andy. Why?
I'm gonna have to just kick you in the face.
Why are you? It's just like,
Don't be trying to play the fucking. Oh man, I have to be the bigger person. If this nigga kick you in the face, and you don't do
you
shit,
don't actually understand.
No,
it's
if
just
you
like
play the bigger person, this nigga kicked you.
I know there is no playing the bigger person. It's literally just me reacting at that point.
Good, and then now we're in it.
He gonna be moving shit out the way all slyly, and I'm gonna be waiting too.
And now we're in it, and I'm with that. I'm with the little roll. What's wrong with the little roll and spar?
See,
that's what friends do.
No, friends don't kick each other in the face.
All right, see, how about this, Charles?
If you kick me in the face, you can't be angry about what I do afterwards.
I'm not. Why would I be angry? I kicked you in the face.
Because people get really salty about things when they don't.
What are trying to fuck this nigga up? That's the fun part.
No, that's not.
To.
Charles, let me preface this. You outweigh me by at least 100 pounds.
Okay.
You've been training martial arts for the last, 6 years?
7 or so, yeah.
Okay, see? So almost a decade.
Yeah.
I'm not under the illusion that this is going to be any type of easy walk in the park, fun, I'm going to come out unscathed.
He want you to try. That's what's great about it.
What I'm under the illusion about.
It's just
he wants you to try.
I understand.
Let me explain my other philosophy on this. I believe that there are only certain things that you can learn about yourself by going through them. Combat is one of those things that you can only really learn about yourself by being in it and going through it. I also believe that if you allow yourself to become soft and just abstain from that, those skills dull, your senses regress, and you're not as honed and as ready. So with those two things in mind, I'm always looking for a way to, one,
you want to be a stay ready all-star.
Test where I'm at, and then two, be able to know that if need be, that is where I can go to. Not that I am actively looking for it. But yeah. There's a more practical reason. But just because it's practical doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it.
I mean, there's a practicality about self-defense in its purest, but it's one of those things where I didn't go seeking out martial arts ever thinking that. The weird thing is, ever since I started martial arts, there has never been a person who's actually attempted to fight with me since I've actually been through martial arts. Is walking around the street and all these other things.
The fact that he wants to should be like, right, let's go.
It's like,
you don't being good.
You don't understand. Like, I've gone into a various amount of situations where it was completely and totally rational for someone to actually try and fight me. And there is a point in time when you start martial arts where it's like, all you want to do is apply the things that you have learned inside of a more active environment.
All right, you can get that out the way. We already know you disciplined.
But I don't shirk the discipline just because it's easy. Ever.
Why not?
Because that would pretty much just be that would be the, if I could just get,
Spar with me and teach me
like
some of your discipline. What degree are you?
I'm actually technically, I should be a black belt by now.
All
but I'm
right,
a brown
so
belt.
perfect. That's all I needed to know, because once you're that high, you're able to start teaching other people. Cool.
That is pretty much the entire thing that's stopping me from getting my black belt. The lack of me being able to explain. The way martial arts, the way everything works for me, for the most part, is I can't necessarily, for the stuff like, for a lot of the stuff that we interact with, I've had practice in actually telling people how to do these things. But for martial arts is one of those things where, how did you do that? My body just does it. Okay, what are the mechanics? I don't think about that stuff. I just do it.
Charles, if you don't fucking write a script, as much as you be explaining shit,
Well,
you gotta
perfect.
write
That's
that
why
down of yours.
you got to teach me. Come on, Charles.
Yeah, teach him, Charles.
Teach through experience.
Ash,
Is the best
I
way
don't
that I
think you
learned.
actually understand.
So,
I'm
let's
actually
spar.
athletically talented.
So
I
like,
don't. You talented a nigga that you want
No,
to fight
no.
you.
You look at me as just like, as much as you explain everything, why can't you explain this? Because in facets that you're really talented in, you don't think about those things. It's like, I don't know, Prince, how you learn all these instruments? I just did it. Now, let me pick up this freaking Mongolian harp and figure this shit out. And the next thing you know, Prince is up here playing the Mongolian harp. It's just like, how long you been trying to play that? Oh, I just picked it up. He just up there pelvic thrusting like Thundercat
so
or something.
spar with me so I can learn through experience.
I mean, you got to do line drills. You got to do all the stuff.
So, yes,
I hate teaching people, Tony.
but you want to be a black belt.
You gotta teach.
There's
people
a
black belt.
you have to,
Got it.
yes. It's even bigger for second degree. Second degree is all about teaching.
Oh, okay.
And if
I knew where I would need him to be
Third
at.
degree,
I know a lot about the stuff that I don't practice necessarily. I'm informed.
I want to be a do-rag.
Yeah, all right. You're gonna be the do-rag, and I'm gonna be the Dragon Balls.
Can we start the show?
This is the show. We've been recording. It's not like the
This
start.
is, I understand.
You're just
But
upset.
we have actual topics to cover. We've been here for 17, 18 minutes.
What's up? So
Talking about something that thrills me.
Why are you so
you're
enthralled
so
by
upset
fight?
about this.
I just wanted this nigga been asking y'all, and no one wants to fight him. I'm like, why not fight this nigga?
I don't
'Cause I don't understand why y'all don't want to do it.
I don't understand why you want to.
Because he asking. Clearly, he confident. I'm like, oh shit, okay. No one wants to, like, everyone know. I'm like, fight this nigga. What the fuck? Y'all been friends for umpteen plus fucking years, and I just came here like a year ago. Fight him.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not going nowhere. Y'all
Ash
can look
is
at it
just-
and just play fucking
if you
Pokemon
ever-
afterwards.
if you ever become Ash's friends, Ash is willing to throw hands with you.
I'm not. I clearly said, Ash, do not go looking for fights. But if you're trying to harm me, I will fight you. I don't know what I'm doing, but somebody getting hurt.
But since Charles won't fight me, I guess we can talk about the Dave Chappelle show.
Chappelle show. You better not bring your kids.
So we all watched the Unforgiven special.
That was the quickest special I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, but he's on some other shit. Like, he's inviting all the comics and shit like that to come to Ohio and, like, be on his ranch and, like, work on shit. And also inviting artists, like musicians and shit like that, and rappers.
I like the shit. Come to Dave Chappelle's house. I'll feed you.
I don't know. I feel like he about to be on some shit. But that's not what I came here to talk about. So, how do y'all feel about this special? And I guess what his overall topic was. And if you guys haven't seen, basically Dave Chappelle is asking everybody to boycott the Chappelle show on any streaming platform because he's not paid for any of it. And yeah, basically.
Oh, I mean, it's pretty much him inciting his fan base to do the thing that he wants them to do, which is not watch the show because I'm not paid for it. and you're pretty much, because the Chappelle Show, I guess, kind of gains fans in perpetuity because it's just like, as he gains more fans, they want to go back and watch his older stuff, and then that leads them directly to Chappelle Show. So his growth has led to not Cartoon Networks,
Comedy Central,
Warner Group's profit. So it's just like, hell no, you're not gonna make money off of me from now. Later down the line, fuck y'all.
How would y'all feel about signing a contract like that?
I mean, it's a 360 deal for the most part.
Not really. Because they don't make any money off of anything else he's doing. 360 means that
they make money from everything.
Everything.
Well, I mean, at that point in time, I believe it was a 360 deal because they made money off of the show, all the branding for the show, which is for the most part what Dave Chappelle was on. And because he was doing that show, he couldn't do as much stand-up at that point in time because you're filming the show. It's like, I mean, he could do some, and especially around New York and stuff like that, but it's like, when you have a syndicated television show, I feel like that eats up a large portion of your life at that point in time. Now, I think his problem really is he just didn't have a lawyer that he could trust.
So he said he was just desperate. He just really didn't take the time to... He didn't take the time to do his due diligence, which is understandable, especially after you work. I don't think people understand how hard you have to work, especially, like, I'm not saying that I'm in his industry, but I think we all kind of know from building something from the ground up, just from doing something that, I don't know if you love to do it or whatever. However y'all feel about what we do, we'll kind of be on the same page along with what he was doing, kind of like providing some sort of entertainment or just being creative from whatever standpoint. I don't think people realize how much hard work that you put in or how much work you put in to get to those levels. And I can understand where he said he was desperate and he had a child on the way and he just wanted to make it. That's a big deal when Comedy Central comes and approaches you and be like, yeah, we want you to make a show for us. I think Open Mike Eagle, when he had his little comedy special thing, I'm 1,000,000% sure he had to weigh his pros and cons. I'm not sure what he went into the legalities of it, but I think that's pretty important what he's doing to stand up for his work that he created. It's pretty legendary. Before he got his show, I know he was a pretty big comedian in his own right, but I would say that show kind of solidified him as a legend for real. And now he sees an opportunity to take back his power because he didn't have any now. Now it's like, it's Dave Chappelle. It's not like he's not an up-and-coming comedian or anything like that. He's a legend. So for him to stand up and say, hey, this needs to stop, it's a pretty fucking big deal. And I think that's pretty honorable for him to do that, especially for himself. Instead of just lashing out and going to the courts, I think he fully acknowledging that I made a mistake. Because for him to say, you could boycott me, just don't watch it, I'm not getting paid from it, was a pretty bold move. And yeah, people just generally need to stand up for themselves and stop letting things sweep under the rug or anything like that. So I think I'd be pretty proud of him for what he did on that special.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I guess an artistic standpoint, I can see feeling like, especially knowing that he took the idea somewhere else and they literally were like, what do we need you for? And then for someone else to be like, yeah, we'll accept your idea. Just that dichotomy of feeling like, oh, they want me. That's a powerful, like, sensation and drug, especially in our creative field where you don't really know exactly how well you're doing. Like, you can try and, like, gauge certain things, but
yes,
until you, like,
upon other people for real,
really hit, like, some, like, decent level of acclaim, you're like, I think I'm doing the right thing. These ideas seem good to me, but you don't really have like a sure way to test that, like in other businesses or like industries.
I mean, I guess he could kind of look at like, I'm selling things out, I'm doing all right. I still don't have any money though, because I forget what the percent on the take for a given comedian is on a night, but it's probably not as high as it could be, and it's probably not enough to, unless you do shows like every goddamn night, to the point where you can actually put food in your kid's mouth.
Practice, like we were talking about not we, but anyway, you gotta learn the difference between talent and skill. I'm sure he had talent as like a 14-year-old boy, but did he have a skill to become what he is today? And the only way you can really develop that is like doing it, and you're not necessarily gonna get paid for any of that. I'm 1,000,000% sure podcasting wasn't something like, oh, I'm sure I don't know how you felt when you started. It was like, nigga, I'm getting these these mics together and I'm recording. And I don't know if you saw like, oh wait, there's differences here. Or did you already know what you was getting into when you started?
Yeah, I knew. Like, I've done a fair amount of research. Like, I spent $2,000 to go to the podcast movement when it was actually like worth something. Now it's kind of like
an advertisement space,
it's kind of posh and that. But when I was there, you had like a real level of access to everybody. Like, who did they blog for? I can't remember what it's some type of BuzzFeed. You know, when they interviewed the two black women interviewed Hillary Clinton from BuzzFeed.
Yeah.
Me and them kicked it for a majority of the weekend. It was just like a whole black group of like podcasters and everything. But like your level of access to the people that were high in the industry, low in the industry, and the medium was just really authentic. So I got a real look at like what it took, what investment looked like, what I was in for, how to go and find money. Like, I know certain companies where if I wanted to like ad space, once we reached a certain number, I could go to them. It's not necessarily my goal, but if that was something that we were strapped for, sure, we could hit a quick lick like that. But the way that I view that is weird, the way that they treat podcasting right now, and so I'm uncomfortable with selling ad space. Unless we become big enough and we can structure a new deal, but I'm not going to talk about what that would look like off air on here, because that's different. Because right now the way that they do it is they pay you for your ad, either a pre-roll, which is you do the ad before the show starts,
middle of the show,
mid-roll, or end roll.
End rolls get the least money, mid rolls and pre rolls get the most.
Yep. And pre-rolls are generally what they want, and they always want you to be in your voice. But these things live in perpetuity on your content.
What I need from like YouTube or something is I need the ability for them to not pre-can the splicing it together, and for them to actually like put something, or like kind of have you be able to upload two different videos in congruity, and when that ad kind of comes down, you can then remove that and put something else there or something. So that means it's not like, so that means you can pretty much live edit the video, except for you can put whatever ad wherever you desire it to be within your given videos. But that is a level of innovation that I don't really expect from them, because their ad program works as it is.
I mean, yeah. And the other thing, no, I'm good with that. I like where you took it, because that's different than what I was going to do.
Oh, yeah, I took it to an actual solution for the given problem, but I'm not sure if any of these companies actually really care about solving that problem, because that's not where they make their money. But I would assume people...
Well, see, what you took it to is a solution for the companies.
Yeah.
That's not where I'm going.
Yeah.
But that's, like I said, off my conversation for us. But I do think that ownership is very important inside of content creation, and being desperate is also a real thing, and depending on, well, they won't look at it as like real, which is fucked up because you're not allowed to sign contracts under desperation. Like, it's illegal. Like, you're not considered to be in the right state to make a sound judgment. But they wouldn't consider him being a struggling father and knowing that he's about to have a kid on the way and being broke desperation situation, which is incorrect because that's hella mental pressure.
Yeah, you're not allowed to sign a contract if you're under duress.
Yeah.
It
nullifies it.
Now, what duress is? Most people consider duress a gun to your head, but there are different levels of duress, and
this is definitely duress. I don't have any other options, really. I'm a comedian. I'm not really. I make enough money that I got $60 and rent is paid.
like, now the big thing is, if you get a good enough lawyer, someone might actually be able to spin that story inside of a.
How long and how messy is that going to be?
Yeah, I can kind of see why he would choose to just tell
so
people don't stream it.
So messy to the point that Comedy Central will probably pay, like, and more than likely they're going to settle. But the funny thing about Dave Chappelle, I feel like he'd take it to trial because it's like, I don't need the settlement, bitch. I want my shit.
Yeah, he wants his ownership, and so. But I think this is a good way is involving the people and not like really keeping it hidden. Like, hey, this is what these companies do, and I think that's also like Ash was saying is something that's like a brave step to say, hey, this isn't normally what happens. We normally get shitted on and get the shaft end of the contract and then don't say anything publicly and try and like resolve it behind the scenes and still get like pennies on the dollar of what we were like, oh.
Right, or like these lifelong battles where like with Prince when Prince had to wait to damn near the end of his life to get his masters. He fought so hard for that stuff, and I don't think people understand like
that's exhausting, and
like I said, the work that you put into anything that you put into work to, and then somebody else is making money off of it. I don't even know if he cares about making money off of Chappelle. It's just the principle for real. Because if they would have stopped it, I think he would have been okay. The fact that he didn't go straight towards lawsuit tells me that is more the principle for him. Because he could have just went that route. Yeah. Like, no, I'm just going to go legally after you. He was like, no, I'm going to do something different because it don't matter to me. And I don't know if people understand how, I'll say, an artist really work. And, like, when I write, I just write for the pure fuck of it. I'm not really, well, let me not say that. I would hope that it would lead to something lucrative. But I also...
You don't write, so it means you don't think writing is lucrative. You're not doing writing just so it means it will be lucrative. It's ultimately creatively fulfilling. And if it just so happens to be lucrative, that's all well and good.
And the work that I gotta put in for it is you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. And you gotta put like the constant battle of just saying, I just want to make something good. Like with this show, I just wanted to make something that was good and that kept me coming back and I didn't get tired of after a while. That was my main focus, and just making a good show. The other, like the financial stuff, for me personally, I believe would follow if you put out something good and if you put the work in. But for people like us, you usually have to see nothing before you might maybe get to something. Maybe you're not even guaranteed. It's a big fucking maybe. You can't even say like you either gonna get it or you not. And I thought about, like, what would you say to somebody, even if they had made it to this point? Like, if Dave Chappelle had to say, well, what's your secret to success? What would you fucking tell him? Because he didn't know. He didn't know if he was going to make it big. Well, when we did that training with, what's his name, Kevin on stage.
Not to give up, really. It would be everybody's secret to success. Hey, I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going to happen, but I
didn't really get paid a lot of money for this shit.
I just kept doing it until
I just kept going. And then
worked one day.
People, you feel like, do people just want to hear that? Or, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, what the fuck would I, like, you might not make this shit, so you got to figure out why the fuck you doing this for. And I've been figured out my why a very long time ago. A very long time ago. That keeps me going. And for somebody to take that from you is incredibly disheartening. Like you said, he could have went the lawsuit, right? But he was just like, just please, for me, don't fucking stream it.
Oh, I mean, I'm not gonna necessarily sit here and praise Netflix. They were just kind of like, all this Dave Chappelle.
Netflix. I'm not praising Netflix. I don't really.
Well, I'm not saying you were praising Netflix, but a lot of people are looking at Netflix as like, good on Netflix. Now, unless Netflix looked at this as a cost benefit analysis, it's just like, how much are people streaming that show? But nowhere near as much as to beat is worth trouble. But get it off of there.
Also, don't. Yeah, like you said, I can see that point from Netflix being like, this really don't. This is losing this compared to other stuff. But from the way he explained it, it sounded like they at least tried to have his best interest, even if it was more lucrative for him, because they don't have to do that.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do that. They could have just said, we got your shit, we got the contract, da-da-da-da. They could have went through the whole thing. But they didn't from what he explained. So I'm not like the biggest fan of Netflix and how they be operating, especially some of the movies they be releasing. But I can also see that they did have a choice, and they made a choice that's definitely beneficial to both parties.
And they don't always make the best choices when it comes to everything, because, man, when it comes to screen and TV stuff, or anything really, they be out here making some wild ass decisions. Like, we're gonna cancel this and we're gonna do 5 Adam Sandler movies. Like, what are you doing? Why are you canceling?
Adam Sandler be hitting when he hit, though.
Oh no! I mean, the thing about Adam Sandler is just like the beginning of his career, from like SNL all the way through like the beginning. Like, Adam Sandler is ultimately how everybody wants to do everything, because he made his own production company, Happy Madison, and he took the shot, and then he made all the money himself.
Do you think like Adam Sandler like be trolling, or do you think I actually had to think about this, because I'm like, I saw Uncut Gems. One of my favorite movies of all time is Prunk Drunk Love. He in this movie called Spanglish is one of my favorite movies. Waterboy is definitely one of my favorites. Lilo Nicky, like, I really enjoy Adam Sandler.
Oh no, the beginning of Adam Sandler, he was like, he's wildly multi-talented. Like,
but we can all agree too, like, what the fuck was Click? What's that movie he did where he was acting like the sister?
I know.
Oh man, what's that? And then there's another one on Netflix right now, the cowboy movie. Where what the fuck?
He's just out here is like, man, y'all gonna keep paying me for making this stuff. I'm gonna keep making it.
The movies do numbers, insane amount of numbers, but they hella shitty. But he keep making them. It's not like he was like, oh, let me review my thing and what I could have done better. Like, he just keep going. So I'm just.
I think of him like the same way I kind of think of Tyler Perry as of this moment. It's just like, all right, here's the algorithm.
I don't think Tyler Perry movies are bad. It's just bad substance. They not bad. Like, I'm not gonna be bored. I could definitely like sit there and be like, oh, maybe watch this. But they got like shitty substance, and it's the same fucking thing over and over again. Yeah, I wouldn't say like they just like horrible movies.
It's just like, if I really boil down an Adam Sandler movie, what do I expect? I expect silly voices, kind of raunchy humor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the entertainment, like him just making movies just for entertainment. Like, do it have to be this
highbrow,
this fucking comedic genius writing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Superbad is comedic genius. One of the funniest movies fucking ever. But it's also funny, Little Nicky.
Oh, I think early Adam Sandler has his own level of like genius. It's like, do I like Happy Gilmore? Do I like all these other things? Like, yeah, I love like the early Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
It's like, hell, I think him, for the most part, at his peak was like Anger Management. It's just like, oh. And then he did Uncut Gems. It's just like, you are just actually talented, and you just so happen to do comedy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just doing shit I just love making movies. I just love making
They
comedy.
gave me this check.
Is that still noble, even though it might not come out what everybody else thinks it's coming out as? Because I really sat there and was like, Adam, what the fuck is you doing, bud? Like I said, those movies right there is my favorite, and he does such a great job in those. And then you like look at the other shit like, fuck going on, bud? Like, why you keep doing this? And then I'm like, well, maybe he just, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are we expecting so much from movies? Like, my father has like this weird thing where he just loved B movies. Like, it's like 3 sequels. This nigga got like the 3rd sequel to like Tremors and shit. Like, it's just all these like extra. He'll just come with like the most random shit, like Suburban TV Monsters, and this nigga will watch that shit so enthralled. Like, where did you find this title?
I have the same issue with a lot of the stuff that my mother watches. It's just like, this is not good, and maybe because I have like a certain level of consumer, like I have so much stuff that I can consume nowadays, to the point where consuming the bad stuff, like bad movies, I can't see it being worth. Like, I can go out here and I can go watch like anime right now. Why am I watching this terrible movie?
Yeah, like this nigga found Butterfly Effect 3, like Hellraiser.
Oh my god,
He found like Hellraiser 10.
The fact that there was more than one butterfly
Exactly.
effect is a problem.
They stopped using Ashton Kutcher after the first one too.
Yeah, and that's the
But like,
problem.
where did you find this? And he will sit there and watch the whole thing. We watched this movie with John Travolta called Wrath. That movie was fucking terrible, but my father found it.
Raft.
What?
I forget that movie that
IMDb. Look it up. People was
Wrath.
like, what
It's
movies were you in?
It's a shitty movie, but I watched it with my dad because it was so shitty. Like I'm sitting.
I don't hate the B movies because B movies get some of my friends paid. So.
Oh my god, replicas! My father found replicas with Keanu Reeves. I'm like, what are you doing with your days? That was a shitty movie as well.
I mean, I don't. But the thing about it, I'm not disillusioned about a lot of things. It's just like I've watched a lot of bad movies over my life.
And then there's this list. I forget who did this list. It's either Watch Mojo or Woke Culture. Where they're talking about, like Gary Oldman is a good one. That was the commissioner in Batman. That's one of my favorite actors too. And he just said like, nah, this dude just turns out movies, good or bad. He just does them. Or Eric Roberts, they did that. I forgot what list this was.
Oh, people got it. I mean, the thing about it is, like, actors sustain this level of life, and your next paycheck is never guaranteed.
Never.
So I can never fault an actor for being like, yo, you want to get paid to do this? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's kind of the reason why TV is kind of a godsend for a lot of actors, and they're fine with it because that's a consistent check as long as the quality of your stuff stays. It's just like, as long as you're gray in Grey's Anatomy, you gonna get that check. Mm. But so
yeah, like what's his name? Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke is a fine example of that, where he just really loved acting, and then he got caught up in the lifestyle. And he was like, I just fucking hated it after a while. And this nigga started boxing. Like, he's still a great actor. Like, if I ever see The Wrestler. What else he did? He was Marv in Sin City. That's what I'm saying. Like, just doing things. If you're in this industry to do shit for clout, I don't know how far you're gonna make it. But then again, them niggas make it all the time. Niggas just doing shit just because they want to be famous.
Yeah, but those are the people that I normally equate to burning out the most.
You think so?
Yeah, because if you're not doing it for the love of the given thing, then you just kind of burn out. Like, I think a lot of people retire from sports either when they can't do it or their heart's not really in it anymore.
Bootsy Collins, actually. If anybody ever get a chance. I just like music history. I definitely say watch Tales from the Tour Bus. I watched a little bit of country part, and then I watched when they did funk. And Bootsy Collins was on there explaining how Funkadelic actually came together. Because I didn't know this, but Bootsy Collins and his crew used to actually play for James Brown for a while until they got fired. I didn't know that until I watched this thing. But once they got with Funkadelic in Parliament, I think George Clinton told Bootsy to become a frontman, and he said he got like terrible shingles and shit from it, like terrible skin disease from the stress, because he was said like at the end of it, he's like, I didn't want to be a front man. My nigga, I just wanted to play bass. Like, if you actually see Bootsy's, it makes sense now, because when you see Bootsy's, now his work is always, like, featuring. What he did with Tyler, the Creator, and, what's my baby's name? Kali Uchis. The sun to come out. Something's up. Whatever the fuck the name of that song is. It's always him featured on something. And he was saying, like, I never wanted to be the front man. That shit was not who I was. I just wanted to play bass.
It takes an extremely special person to play a front man in a rock group, period.
Yeah, all that fucking energy you gotta exclude. But like I said, I don't think people understand. My point is the amount of work that's put in, and for someone to take it away.
Come in and snake it, because it was his show idea. It wasn't like Comedy Central came to him.
Yeah,
it's like he was floating the show out here, and they're
how
like,
many no's you had to hear before that, and you just out here, huh?
Because there's only so many at that point in time. There's only so many people who are going to do skits, comedy style stuff. You have Mad TV that was already on Fox. You have SNL that's already on NBC. So that means you're either going to go to ABC or you're going to go to some random cable news network or HBO. HBO said no. Maybe Cinemax, but who wants to really go to Cinemax? And I guess Stars existed, but
they should have went to Showtime.
Showtime and Cinemax are the same people.
Well, go to Showtime.
But
don't call it Cinemax, and then it sounds cool. Showtime.
Skinamax.
Yeah.
He bought it the Skinamax day.
Yeah, that's why I was like, you can't call it Cinemax. That's perverted. But you can go to Showtime and it'll be fine.
It's just like, what you doing? Watching Cinemax?
Had that last channel on Nick. Click.
with the quickness.
You heard any amount. The volume was on like
The low, yeah. As soon as you hear the slightest rustle,
anything,
I'm watching cartoons. Fucking hate cartoons.
I'm watching SpongeBob. Nah.
Yeah, this shit is. I hated that.
I hated that so much. Why was that such a part? Why did they put that on anything?
No, I'm mad that they had to be wrestling the shit. Y'all stay y'all rude, damn it. Minding my business. You mind your business. I'm out here. I'm in the house. I'm safe. Why are you worried about what I'm doing? You don't smell nothing on fire. You just being nosy.
What you doing down there? Nothing.
Minding my business. Ain't nothing on fire.
Did you not have a TV in your room?
No fire.
I did, but I don't know why I never like to do it. I like to watch the other TV. The TV in the living room is my spot.
Fucking perfect.
Well, that's probably what you doing down there.
I'm not doing anything. It wasn't even down there because in California there's not a whole lot of
Two floor.
it's
over
off
there.
and on, yeah. So
What you doing over there?
watching TV.
Oh my god.
I don't hear any sound. And that's always the thing. It's the lack of sound for the most part. Like, as you said, how do you know when your daughter up to something? Like, man, I don't hear a goddamn thing. What you down there doing?
Oh, especially if they toddlers, that is the worst. Them niggas is destructive as fuck. They quiet. What the fuck you doing? No, now Riley's old enough. I know she just minding her fucking business. And the only time she ever really talks to me is when she hungry or want cuddles. Like, other than that, she entertains herself.
Next thing you know, you gonna walk inside of there. Riley, why you out here making a flamethrower?
I was fine with that. She started setting things on fire lately. She's like, "Ma, can I set this paper on fire?" I said, "Yeah." Because it's only paper. Should be alright.
I support that.
You out here making a whole nother Tony.
No, she just setting things on fire.
Yeah.
That wasn't bad though. Like that wasn't.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's probably how you like. It's the first step to Tonydom.
I was just setting things on fire.
It's just like next thing you know.
And then I found out other things that could be set on fire, like alcohol. Alcohol is one of my favorite things to set on fire.
Or insects.
I hate them. I know. I like to just burn and kill them. But setting alcohol, like... Alright, so wild story about when I was a kid. We had these, like, weird chalices. And they were, like, little. Like, chalices for, like, a gnome. Like, they were all the shape and, like, look of a chalice. But tiny, like this big. So I would fill them all with alcohol.
Did they have like a different hole on the bottom of it?
Nope, no hole.
So it was just like a little tiny
Chalice, yeah.
Oh, see, I was thinking about they might be jiggers for
No, they were all bronze. So I would pour alcohol in them, and then they had this tray that they came on. So I would cut all the lights off in the house, and then set everything on fire, and then walk through the house pretending like I was like some ancient monk chanting. I would have like a robe on, and I would always lead myself to the bathroom so I could look at myself in the mirror with the fire. It was amazing.
My nigga said he chanted.
Oh, hell, I had an amazing time. My imagination was super wild as a child. Let me be real honest.
I got my ass beat for just striking matches. What is going on?
Hey.
Our lives are totally different. The life of an only child and the life of a second born son. It's like, oh,
yeah.
You can't be out here striking matches. I didn't even do anything.
Yeah. Very vastly different.
These two older people told me it was okay.
I didn't even talk to nobody. I didn't tell nobody what I was doing. I knew how to find matches and lighters and anything. And I knew that even if I didn't have no match or no lighter, I could take a little piece of paper and put it on the stove and it'll catch on fire. Even if it's an electric one, you just sit it there for a while and it'll catch on fire because of the heat and spontaneous combustion. Everything has a combustion point.
Yeah.
So once you reach that temperature, it just catches on fire.
That's how we used to make s'mores.
This nigga's childhood is wholesome as fuck.
I was a pretty chill kid.
Look at him. He's over here making s'mores with the family. Tony's over here setting chalices on fire.
We're so juxtaposed. Like, yeah, we made s'mores.
Yeah, I'm over here setting shit on fire and being a terror to my household.
I have nobody to terrorize. I was the youngest. I was terrorized.
So I was the oldest. I'm the oldest cousin. And so I've played the Be Quiet game. It's a game, if you make any noise, I hit you. I played the whooping game. It's you got to lay here and be still, and if you don't, I'm gonna hit you with this belt. I didn't like them being.
I didn't like them.
Yeah, you were an only child. It's just like you sitting around here, and you were probably going into other people's houses and playing this game.
No, they were at my house.
Oh.
No, they were at my my uncle just kind of like dropped them off with to my mom. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He just dropped these two niggas off with my mother, and then I had to deal with these two niggas. Yeah, and then it's the Be Quiet game. As soon as everybody left, it was me in charge because I'm the oldest. Shut up. Be quiet. We're gonna play the quiet game. Hey, I'm so good at like the finesse game. I convinced them that they wanted to play this game. They would ask me, "We gonna play the Be Quiet game?" Yeah. We gonna play the whooping game. You goddamn right. Fuck y'all up. Y'all shut the fuck up and don't move and be still and do what I'm telling you. And yeah, I'm gonna hit you with this belt.
I'm gonna hit you with this belt. But I did all the things that I was told to do.
Nope.
I'm just gonna.
No, because they would always laugh. For some reason, it was the most exciting thing to them that they were anticipating getting hit, and they would laugh.
Gaslighting these children.
Yeah,
into oblivion.
Yeah, no, I was terrible. So yeah, no, I didn't like them.
Oh my goodness.
I used to set stuff on fire and blame it on my cousin. I really didn't like him. He whined too much, and then he also wanted to be a tag along. I'm used to like
being alone.
Yeah, leave me the fuck alone. These aren't your friends. These are my friends. You don't have friends. So I don't know what you're going to do, but no, me and my friends aren't going to play with you.
How old was he?
He's only 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
I don't want to play with you. I'm an only child, and I've made my own friends. And I don't know why you keep thinking that you get to come when I'm going to go hang out with my friends. We don't like you.
2 years is always the weirdest gap because 2 years is just enough space inside the grand scheme of being young for you not to want to deal with that person.
Yep.
Like 12 to 14, absolutely not.
Yeah. 15
to 13, maybe. 14 to 16, also absolutely not a whole nother time.
Yep.
It's just like you would think as you get older, as the gap gets insignificant. 18 to 16, absolutely not. 18 and 20, okay, we're fine.
Yeah.
21 and 19, sucks to be you, bro. I'm going out drinking. 21 and 23, all right, there's nothing left for me to exclude you from.
Until you're 25, and then now you can't go to the 25 and out clubs. You little 23-year-old.
There's a 25 and over club?
Yep.
Where? Why?
There's lots of them. And because who wants to hang out with fucking 21-year-olds that just can fucking drink now and are getting shit-faced? That's not what I came to the club to do. I came here to listen to some good music, dance a little bit, and not be accosted by niggas that are too drunk and want to fight you now.
I came to clubs... I came to clubs to be entertained.
Yeah, but not by niggas trying to fight.
I mean, there's always somebody trying to fight everywhere.
No, there's not. That is a distinctly Cleveland thing.
Every single club I go to, there's always somebody trying to fight for some bizarre reason.
And in Seattle too. But that was because they didn't have a good dress code. I'm a strong believer of that.
Are you a pro or against dress code?
Pro. And they don't have any of those out here. And that's why I think a lot of the shit happens.
Well, they do in some places, but typically those people won't go there and then they stop making money.
Bro. every hip hop club in California has a strict hard bottom dress code. You will be wearing hard bottom shoes, so some type of nice dress shoe. You can't be sagging. You have some nice pants on. You gotta have a button down on. We will not be wearing t-shirts. You will not be wearing a hat. This is every club. Period.
Well,
Niggas is not trying to fight in slippery shoes.
I can't. But anyway,
but niggas is
Right,
not.
no Stacey Adams.
Nigga, no, I'm not slipping and sliding all the way around. That is not the most convenient thing to be doing.
but that's the thing.
Or in this goddamn button up that I gotta, or polo that I gotta now try and take off or unbutton. I don't.
Time I'm buttoning this shit. I am.
Oh, I don't know. It's like, as of that point, it's just like, we're a hip hop club, but you gotta wear these button ups and all this. So, basically, you're trading off of hip hop culture, but you're not willing to deal with any of the things that actually have to do with hip hop.
Yeah, it was lit.
Because hip hop culture is directly related to sneaker culture and a whole bunch of street clothes and all this other stuff. But you don't want to deal with these things.
Nah.
So, I mean, it's just a person trading off of hip hop. And that's ultimately why I'm kind of...
I'm with
like,
that.
for hookah bars and stuff like that, I don't care, man. Like, you can have a dress code. You're going there to smoke. But if you're going there to listen to hip hop and you're just doing everything that's decidedly anti that thing, then I don't think, then play pop music.
No. I don't know how we got here.
Well, we were talking about creative stuff, and then we went to...
What was the second part of your question?
Oh, yeah.
Something about
I don't know how we got all the way to...
I asked if you were pro or against dress codes because you said all the... It's just like, I'm not going in this. We were talking about... we went from the age gap, and then you said, all right, I'm 25. I can go to 25 and over
There was
club.
something before. I don't know how we got on this tangent. But anyway...
Because, Tony, you were talking about setting stuff on fire, and you did a story about your cousin being 2 years younger than you were.
I hated them niggas.
And you just played a be quiet game, and I'm going to beat you club.
Yes.
Or game.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
My youngest cousin, the girl, she fell out the window.
She wasn't pushed out a window?
No. We didn't stop her from falling, but we didn't push her.
All right, Batman. I don't have to... It's just like, I don't have to push you out, but I don't have to save you. Like, you realize that's technically letting me die, and you are taking action that it's killing me, right?
Give me some ask for answers and then let you fall out the window. Batman, which one you want?
Yeah, so basically what happened is she wanted to watch Barney. I will fight you, Charles. I've hated Barney since I was a baby. I never liked. I remember coming back from out here one Christmas and like my mom's friend meeting us at the airport with a Barney doll and me giving it back to her.
I hate this little purple.
Yeah, she brought me Barney Stuffy and I was like, I don't want this. I don't like him.
I am dynamically opposed to this evil creature.
Yeah, I hate Barney. But my little cousin loved him.
Yes.
So she wanted to watch the video and me and my cousin didn't. And so the TV was on top of the dresser, which also was by this open window, didn't have a screen in it. So she had to climb and try and like finagle her way up there and we just let her. And then she fell. And then we ran downstairs and told our mothers that she had fallen out the window. And then they didn't believe us. And then they heard her crying. But she wasn't hurt at all.
Kids are pretty resilient.
But yeah, fell out the second story one day.
Oh, second story.
Yep.
I already answered it. It was just like, why? Well, she was trying to watch this thing. She just fell out the window. I was climbing up the dresser because they wouldn't put in a party video.
Yeah, fuck Barney. But who are y'all top 5 comedians and how do y'all feel
Barney.
about Kevin Hart?
That's the name of the show, please.
I'm with that.
Top 5
Put it
comedians.
in the episode description so I remember. And how do y'all feel about Kevin Hart?
Of all time? Or just period? Right.
Right now. Well, actually, no. First, let's talk about how we feel about Kevin Hart. Because he just released a new special. And he got... Alright, so he did a lot of, like, retweeting and liking everybody that was, like, really, like, supportive of him releasing it. But then, like, after watching it, everybody was like, this shit isn't funny. And that's kind of been, like, the running thing for Kevin Hart for, like, the last couple of years. Other comedians coming out and saying, yeah, he's not really that funny. And now, kind of, the fan base also echoing those sentiments. And so, I don't know how familiar you guys are, but there's this new app that's on its way out, possibly, unless Twitter steals its features, called Clubhouse. And so, what Clubhouse is a voice chat social media. So everybody's just in there talking. You can drop like pictures and comments and stuff like that, but everybody's in there like sending voice notes to everybody. And so it's just like an open forum conversation.
That sounds like a clusterfuck.
It's not right now because
there's nobody on it.
It is.
What?
Just the way that Twitter started, it is nothing but high profile A-list celebrities and like certain invite only people. Just how Twitter started.
Yeah.
So Kevin Hart's on there. Kevin Hart's actually an investor. And so he had an account for a while, but doesn't, from my understanding, isn't super active. Went on there and was like rebuffing like people saying that it was bad and everything like that, and talking about how it wasn't supposed to be political, and just basically going back and forth with people about like the quality of his work. And so my question is, do you think that the last 3 Kevin Hart stand-ups have been funny? And then do you think that he should just kind of do like Eddie Murphy did, hit his peak, and then if he's going to do movies, just transition fully into making them extremely funny? Because it seems like the doing of both
is not really copacetic with being good at either.
Yeah.
Writing a script and writing a writing a script and writing stand-up are like 2 totally different skills, I would say, because one is basically you're doing a monologue with yourself and telling a bunch of stories that are supposed to be funny, and then writing a script for a movie is the entire thing is supposed to be funny. I've never found Kevin Hart to be that funny to begin with. I just kind of thought he was short and animated, so everyone thought that was funny. But when I look at like the contemporary people of comedians and things of that nature, is like, all right, let's look at him compared to like, I don't know, Bill Burr or God, what is the dude that everyone loves? I can't remember.
Did you say God?
No, what is the dude who?
Like God, a comedian out on the street?
He died. I can't remember the name of him. It might have been Bill Burr. No, Bill Burr made Paper Tiger. He's not dead at all.
No, he's not.
I can't remember his name. But George Carlin. There we go.
Okay.
But if I look at him and I look at like people that I legitimately enjoy listening to, like I like Chris Rock stand up. And I actually enjoyed the Richard Pryor things I was allowed to watch at that point in time.
Bro, I was watching Richard Pryor shit at like 11. It was so bad.
Eddie Murphy. Obviously Dave Chappelle and like I've already said, Chris Rock. I don't know how much of Robin Williams stand up I've actually watched, but I feel like he's kind of inside that same category that that Kevin Hart is. Like they're really animated, but he's not. Chris Hart, like he's not as talented as Robin Williams is when it comes to like doing the voice and doing the story thing. Is like I don't think Kevin Hart, I'm sorry, not Chris Hart. I don't think Kevin Hart is really the best at anything when it comes to doing stand-ups. I mean, if he's just gonna, like, if he would just make movies and kind of like slide out of that category and let somebody else come up, I don't think that would be a bad thing.
Well, Kevin Hart I like his first 2 stand-up specials. I could sit down and watch those.
Oh yeah, those are funny as fuck.
Yeah, I can watch those too. After that, I feel like he became more goofy than funny, because there is a difference between the two, and I think the way the dynamics are changing now is that being goofy is valued over more than the artistry of being a comedian. And I'm not particularly interested. I'm not getting excited for Kevin Hart. I still get excited for Dave Chappelle. I still get excited for a lot of other comedians. But I think goofiness is taken over. Like, if you could do a decent impression, or like Tony Baker, to me, is hella funny when you do his voiceovers. But when I watch stand up, it's like a disconnect for me, because I'm not like, damn, when is the next time Tony Baker gonna perform?
Yeah, I can definitely understand that.
Yeah, like I remember.
I think there's a real, like, I think not all comedians can really master that craft of a stand up.
That's
like,
a really hard transition.
And like a good stand up. And I think Kevin was on a good trajectory. And where that trajectory was headed, I guess, made us feel like, all right, you're going to be one of them ones. And
never felt that.
Well, I didn't think that he was going to. Well, I guess I look at it like this. Before Dave Chappelle was Dave Chappelle, he did what, Half Baked?
Yeah.
Soul Plane.
Yeah. Oh no, I completely and totally get just being in the middle of the road. But looking at Dave Chappelle, I looked at him like even the stand-ups that I saw before he did like Soul Plane and all that other shit is just like, you are funny, but like just in telling of the stories and the things that you're doing, it's just like you're wildly way more talented than most other these people are, because you can actually have me enwrapped inside of this story. Whereas watching Kevin Hart, I've never been like
wrapped and totally invested in his stories, because it seemed like kind of like these short little quips of incidences, whereas Dave Chappelle is definitely trying to like enmesh you in this whole experience. And then Kevin Hart just kind of had like these funny moments.
But even in that, I think that in the first 2 specials, he just had like funny moments, but there was a way that he
was bringing a lot of energy,
wove them together though.
Yeah, like the T-Mobile headset thing. That shit is the funniest shit to me still to this day. Just imagining this big nigga crushing 10 headsets is still the funniest shit that I remember from the fucking thing.
I don't know, I feel like there is a level of like, there ain't no nigga in it. There ain't no soul in it. It seems like it's more for a mainstream, wider audience.
Yeah, like Tiffany Haddish.
And he doesn't really say anything.
It's like,
and
yeah, I don't know. I was just looking at a list, and I wouldn't even say I wouldn't say he's as good as like Carlin. I wouldn't say he was as good as
No, it's no, like you're saying, I don't think it's really.
It's not that he's as good.
Like I know he's better than Amy Schumer though.
No, so my thing is, it's not that he's as good. It's that I feel like he could have reached that height, and instead of doing that and figuring out a way to still be like wildly popular, he went the safe cookie cutter route. And no, with his stand up is very safe and cookie cutter. It's like, even though he talks about family stuff, it's boring and like not really super introspective or anything like that. Whereas if you get a Bill Burr, who's still married, wife, kids, all that, going to talk about family, but you're going to be dying laughing. I don't have a wife and kids, but that shit is still funny as fuck to me. Right. I feel like I'm right in that shit. And so it's not about the content that he's giving. It's about like
how he's telling his
how is he's
it's like he's in rapping. You are become like when Bill Burr tells you a story, you are becoming Bill Burr. When he is sitting there on his couch with his wife, you feel like you're Bill Burr.
But see, but that's not what I need from Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart in the first 2 did make me become him, but Kevin Hart put me right in those scenarios as if I was me. Like, damn, this shit would be crazy. Or like when my favorite joke from Kevin Hart is him talking about how he's afraid of dolphins, and how he took his daughter out to go be on the dolphin, and so you know how they give you a dolphin, and his dolphin immediately as he touched the fin took him to the bottom of the fucking pool, and he was drowning.
And told the niggas to stand up.
Yeah, and that shit is the funniest shit to me, because I can imagine not even necessarily me doing that, but me being there and someone and just seeing that crazy shit happen. That's what he doesn't bring me into his world to like view even like him doing the crazy shit anymore. It's just so flat, and so that's my issue. I don't need you to master what they do. You had it seemed like you were headed on a mastery of what you did, but now it doesn't seem like you've reached that height.
I mean, I think he's full on the movie train, because I believe that the movies make him way more money, and he is
because that translates, his type of stand-up actually translates really well to movies. Because you can be animated and things like that, and you have a script to go off of, so you can take that energy.
But then he can stop doing stand-ups.
I mean, how many stand-ups does Kevin Hart actually have?
Because I feel like at this point, like, he put himself next to Eddie Murphy.
That's a very wildly foolish thing to do.
He's like, I want to sell out and be the first comedian to outsell Eddie Murphy, whose tour was like record-breaking.
Yeah. So
you put your name next to Eddie. Eddie is one of them guys when it comes to comedy. Like
don't let Pluto Nash fool you.
So, so like if you go say Eddie, then you gotta recognize that. All right, well, if I'm gonna do that, then look at the other shit that Eddie did. Eddie was able to still be that wildly successful, have all of these movies be wildly successful, and then still give you the type of stand-up and content that he could give you. And so it's like, maybe you can't do both. And so maybe your comedy is more built and tailored for movies at this point. And I feel like if everything right now, I feel like he wouldn't be replying if it didn't matter to him. So it's not about money. It's about, like, legacy. So if it's about legacy, stop putting out shit.
I mean, if you're creative and your entire thing is creating something, and someone comes to you and looks at you and says it's shit, and you just make it for yourself, and you made it because you wanted other people to view it as good, and you thought this was going to be this transfer, because that's pretty much how he was billing it. He's basically like, I watched him on Trevor Noah's show, and it's just like, I'm taking this to an entirely different place than what I normally go.
Yeah, because
he was trying to transform,
say no fucks given and shit like that, but then everything is completely safe still. You don't.
Yeah, that's what
you don't go anywhere, like, and that's been like the theme of his last couple of ones. Mm-hmm. The Wild Boys, like, after the whole cheating scandal, and it's all been like, oh, I'm about to start giving edgier content, and then it's all the same safe generic, and it's like, the way that I viewed you isn't the way that I view you, and you inherently did that to yourself. You could have stopped and just did movies, and I would have never changed my perspective on you.
Yeah.
But all you're doing now is making me evaluate and rate you lower and lower.
Like, you're knocking yourself down.
You're under Cat Williams.
Ooh.
Way under Cat Williams. Cat Williams is amazing.
He's fine in stand-up. I feel like when he tried to pivot out to movies, he was not terribly funny. And when Cat Williams fell pretty hard. I'm like, does Cat Williams even do stand-up still?
Yeah, there was one that he just did this year, I want to say. Or the end of last year. It was pretty good, actually. You should check it out. He didn't, like I said, I really enjoy Cat Williams. I think that he's better than Kevin Hart. I think that the other fuckery that he got into definitely derailed his ascension, but I think that he was gonna, because he has that same, like, introspective, like, I'm gonna get my shit, and, like, y'all gonna relate to me.
Yeah, no, his wit and just watching him, he did that interview with that lady. That's like, it went pretty viral. He just started dogging the fuck out of her, and they just dogging each other back. His level of wit is insane. Now, just to sit there, like,
oh.
No, I love Cat Williams. What was I about to say? I don't know. What was you about to say, Charles?
Oh, it's like, I don't know.
He's in my top 5 current.
Cat Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a top 5. It's like the way I consume comedy, even though I still like really I can still go back and watch Eddie Murphy stand-ups because they're just wildly good.
Dave Chappelle, Neil Brendan, Bill Burr, Cat Williams. That 5 is hard for me, but those are my top 4.
The last
it used to be Chris Rock, but I really didn't like that marriage special that he did. But I get he was having a divorce and like needed to get it out off his chest, and it was like a perspective on that. But I just really couldn't identify because I'm not going through a divorce, or
you didn't do the thing that was necessary, which seems like almost every single legendary stand-up person. You didn't bring me in. You didn't actually put me inside of your perspective inside of this divorce. That means I'm not sitting here feeling it with you. You are telling me about how you are feeling.
Well, I mean, no, I think a lot of other people really enjoyed it. It was just not for me. I was just like, I'm not. And it also came out when Dave Chappelle shit came out, and so what I was looking for in terms of content was different. Dave Chappelle was at that point giving social commentary and things like that, and so I was looking for Chris Rock to give the more polished version of that because that's what he used to do. So I was like, oh shit, he's about to come out? Bet. He about to give a whole different perspective on this too. I'm here for it. And then that's not what it was about. It was about like divorce, and I cut it off. So I don't even know if he could have brought me into his world because Tony was like, I am not here for this.
It could be something for down the line, Tony. It's just like, this is really good.
Yeah, like no, I can go back to it, but that is not where Tony was.
It's just like, this is not the thing. It's like, you probably filmed this, and then all this shit happened. You were like, God damn it.
Yeah.
This is right in the bread basket. Right in my bread basket. Right here. It was like, I don't know. And then there are people kind of like, I can tell you, there's a giant list of people that I don't necessarily think are terribly funny. Like, I've already said, like, I don't think Amy Schumer is terribly funny because she's just like, it's not even the fact that she's raunchy. It's just like her entire thing is she's raunchy. And I don't feel like just she can go outside of that wheelhouse. Who else is there? Like, Jerry Seinfeld is like, he's fine, but his comedy really isn't for me.
I think Jerry Seinfeld's pretty funny, actually. He's not in my top.
David, them niggas, that's my niggas right there.
He is hella funny. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
it's like,
David, though, fucking.
I fuck with Jerry Seinfeld.
I mean, do I think he's a really good comedian? Yeah. But is it for me? Not particularly.
And I like that dry, just like.
I'm Larry David crew. That is my homie right there.
I don't even know what you would consider Seinfeld's humor.
I don't know either.
It's like this dry, like.
Did you watch? What is that? Getting
witty
coffee?
Perspective.
Did you watch that one? Yeah, that shit was fucking.
Comedians and coffee.
Yeah,
that's my shit. Where he just picks a different one of his vehicles.
Yeah, and just his friends, let's just drive around.
I think what I like about the other comedians that I dislike about Kevin Hart is Kevin Hart seems like he sold his comedy for riches. Like, he traded it.
You can tell for you to say something like, I want to beat Eddie Murphy. For what? Like, if I was in the comedic field, I would never want to beat Richard Pryor. Why? What would be why would you want to beat the person that inspired you to want to do it? Do you understand?
I would never, first things first, I wouldn't put that on me. Putting that out in the world is a foolish notion.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to be, like, calling your own shot is all well and good, but it's like, calling a shot that's damn near impossible to make is just like, yo, that tour was, like, amazing. What do you...
I'm going to say it's impossible, but what is the point of the venture?
They still replay that stand-up on HBO.
It's legendary for a reason. I'm pretty sure that he was your, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was idol at one point, and now you just want to contest against him. You could have kept your goal quiet, to be honest with you. If at the very least, you could have kept your goal quiet.
I don't like Jerry Seinfeld. He doesn't really do any big comedy clubs.
Yeah, he always does like the small
intimate things. But that nigga is wildly successful.
Yeah, because you're paying like $2,000 a ticket to go see Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, but my thing is, like, he could have. It seems like Dave Chappelle likes to do the pop-up thing, where he just like goes to the Comedy Cellar, or just goes to just different clubs and pops up and just like works material. Like, that seems like that's his niche. How he likes to like engage with the craft.
Yeah.
You want to listen to me? Fuck yeah.
Doesn't feel like Kevin Hart
Has that
retained any of that like love for comedy. It seems like he turned it into business. Yeah, and that's
to say shit like
that's what I feel like.
Murphy, like. I mean, that's a goal, but it's really no heart in that. It's the competition. Like I said, where would I be if I didn't have my goals set in my mind with this show? I probably would have been gone way earlier because things wasn't panning out the way I thought it should have been panned out or anything like that. That wasn't my goal. It was just like, oh, I really enjoy doing this. He don't seem like he really, like I said, he just want the tickets and the sales, which is cool. I can't knock your hustle, but damn, people are starting to see like when you don't do shit with your heart in it, that energy do carry over and people do notice that shit.
Yeah.
Your work starts sucking.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's kind of turned it into a bit of a machine. And that's kind of like, it's rough. Because it's like, you need to make money. And I'm not going to knock you for, like, wanting to feed your kids and maintain your quality of life that you have, like, put in front of them. And as of this point, I think if he realistically managed his money, he probably wouldn't have to worry about that ever.
Yeah, I don't think he ever going to have to worry about money. But, like, at the end of the day.
How good do you guys actually think Bill Cosby actually was at stand-up?
I never wanted to watch any of his shit. Never, not ever. Like when
Bill Cosby was good.
I never really seen anything from him, so I can't say good or bad. But nothing about him made me want to be like.
Aside from respectability politics, like I would say that for a clean brand of humor, like he was getting busy. Like I'm not going like him as a person, scumbag. Comedian, he did his thing outside of him being like disparaging to like other comedians and all like the Def Comedy Jam that was like a whole like cursing and we're going to be like explicitive wave. Like outside of that, him just like doing his stand up, he was actually pretty good.
Was Bill Cosby actually a fan of Richard Pryor?
That I don't know.
Because like my automatic assumption is probably no.
Yeah,
probably not because Rich was
literally the dude who led all those dudes is just like, this is okay. We can just say some of these things and y'all think it's funny. Damn.
I was listening to one morning. I was listening to Rich do that. I think that's in 1973 when this nigga was just talking about him sucking dick like randomly and casually. And that shit, it was just a hilarious ass bit. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Because I'd never heard that special before. I never heard him do that recorded one ever before until that day. When he just like talking about some real grimy shit, like how he grew up in a brothel. He would watch prostitutes fuck, like him and his homosexual tendencies was mad fucking funny. That's some masterful shit. And if you can't, I don't know like what it takes to be a comedian. That's not my job. But with Kevin not getting to that level of mastery or just it being on a decline for real, and you just churning out the butt, you know what I'm saying? You just churning them out because you had this real superficial goal. I can't knock your hustle, but it's starting to show. You know, it's starting to show in the quality of your work that you're putting out.
These motherfuckers have lost their goddamn ever-loving mind.
Yeah, but for clean comedy, I remember my first ones that I ever fell in love with was Sinbad. And it was afros and bell bottoms. Like, I would wear that fucking VHS tape. Ouch.
So, I just did a quick little Google search, and it says that Cosby came first, and then Richard Pryor came a year later, and kind of modeled himself after Cosby. And by the late 60s, Cosby had gotten tired of that, and they had a conversation like, hey, bro, you can't keep doing this.
Yes, like he was pretty clean
because he started off.
At a certain point.
Yeah, started off really preppy, clean, and so he was following the Cosby model. And so, like, I guess, like if you go back and look at like some of his mannerisms of stand up and old Cosby stand ups around those times, you can kind of see.
Yeah, like that late night circus shit where he had to like the clean cut ties and the smooth back hair. And them niggas been at it for a fucking while, but like I said, I got hip to Richard Pryor when he was well into his drug fueled days. And just being wild as fuck. My favorite is Live on the Sunset Strip.
I mean, I just went through a list and they have Eddie Murphy lower than Kevin Hart. So This list is wrong.
Yeah.
It's just like
they'll review it and they'll be like, no, Eddie's pretty much up there. But no, my favorites would probably be Richard Pryor, Louis C.K., Patrice O'Neal, Birdie Mac.
Birdie. Tweet.
And who would be the last one? I'm gonna say Martin. I love when he perform.
I mean, who are really like? If I sit down and I just watch them, I can probably sit down and watch Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr. The last few are always typically pretty rough. Like I do like, God,
I don't think I like Mike Epps stand up.
Stephanie Haddish.
No, I don't.
The girl who does Insecure.
What the fuck is her name? I didn't even know she was. She do stand up.
She's done shit.
For
She's done
what?
shit. And also, I mean, I actually do like Donald Glover stand up, but
It's been a while since I've seen Donald Glover stand up, but I didn't like it when I watched it.
Oh.
But no, comedy has been something that's like super pivotal. I remember being 10 or 9 years old, staying up to watch like Conan O'Brien and Jay Leno, because I had a TV in my room, and I would stay up as a 10-year-old till 1 o'clock in the morning to get up at 7 to watch these niggas, because that's just how much comedy really meant to me.
Late night show.
Yeah, just watching those things.
Late.
I would come and talk to my fucking 4th grade teacher about it. I would watch Saturday Night Live, Mad TV, all those things, because I really always just like, for a time when we had the TV in the basement, I would just watch Comedy Central all fucking day. Between that, Travel Channel, and Food Network. That's it. That's all I actually watch.
You're a girl of culture.
A girl of exquisite culture at 13. But that's all I watched all the time.
I watched a lot of Food Network in my life.
Yeah. No, comedy is something that's like, honestly, it's super important. I mean, it probably has cultivated my persona, but watching now how it's kind of changed is like pretty sad. Like I was watching The Onion 11 years ago from that YouTube shit. Them niggas would never have gotten away with that stuff that they said then, now, at all. And I'm not sure, like, what's happening. I mean, obviously, I know PC culture is definitely just went off the fucking rails, but... And even then, like, Instagram kind of, I ain't gonna say it ruined it, but it definitely changed a little bit of the dynamics of what it means to be, like, a successful comedian, because they had to go through those circuits where, like, Dave was talking about going on tour and how grueling that was. Like, you wasn't getting, your name wasn't really getting around unless you had to go through that process to get where you are now. Where now, like, if you're lucky enough, your shit could go viral and somebody may see you, and then you might want to start, like, a little collective of things. But other than that, yeah, I completely understand where Dave would be upset, because the work that you had to put in to be them fucking comedians. But I think Bernie Mac didn't see success for like 25 fucking years before he started seeing something. He was doing it for some years before he actually got a break on Def Jam. And I think y'all don't even know. No, I think after that he found some success, but he
had a show. He had a show after that.
Yeah, but he had been in movies, like, definitely made like a good prominence and for black culture, I'll say that much. And then he got a syndicated show. The hard work that you gotta put in, I don't know if niggas is putting in that work these days.
I don't know. That's just, the funny thing is just like, as it stands in terms of comedy, I don't think PC culture necessarily affects him as much as everyone likes to think it does. Because, like, Dave Chappelle, a lot of these guys, Louis C.K., a bunch of people just get to kind of say this stuff, and for the most part, people just kind of wave off all the people who are like, but that's not politically correct. Shut up.
You gotta get to wave it off, but you can still have some negative effects from it. I feel real like...
I don't... Like, for a lot of these people, I don't see how it's necessarily affected them. Now, I think the difference between some of those people are, for some people, that their entire shtick was making fun of a given demographic. Mm-hmm. It was like, if all you made was gay jokes, are you really all that funny? Like, all I did was make jokes about gay people. Well, now that I can't write jokes about gay people, I can't write jokes about anything. Well, then you probably weren't really funny to begin with.
But I don't never see them. Where them comedians at?
I mean, they typically...
I've never seen that.
Well, no, that's a fallacy because realistically, they attacked Dave Chappelle, and his whole special wasn't about the trans community.
They attacked him, and then nobody cared.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
you can still be attacked, and you still can be scrutinized, and you can still be.
I mean, you're gonna be. I mean, if you are a public-facing individual who is trying to trade on yourself,
not at this level, though. You can't say that it has always been like this.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, if you are a public-facing individual and you are making content to be consumed by other people, then you are subjected to their scrutiny regardless of whether or not you want to be or not.
That is true, but that was usually only relegated to people like in the Rolling Stone, people that came from syndicated places. You wasn't hearing everybody's opinion on the shit.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of
everyone's opinion.
I mean, it's fundamentally changed because we have social networking. We have the capacity of...
Which also came with just people being PC as fuck. You can't say this. You can't say that. Why do you say this? Why do you say that?
I mean, no one... Well, no. No one's stopping you from saying anything. There are just repercussions for you saying things.
And it's always been like that. But the level of it now has definitely changed. It definitely affected the way people are doing comedy now.
I mean, they're like... From what I see, the people who are kind of...
You can choose to say whatever the fuck you want, like you said. But it's like, it's going to be consequences to your actions, sure. But now the level of it is definitely, like, heightened. And
some people could just, like, if they're good enough and they're talented enough or they're really good at their craft, they just kind of gut through it. Like, I don't think Joe Rogan's particularly funny, but I guess his stand-up is, like, fine. Mm-hmm. But it's like... There's just all these people who just kind of make it through, and it's just like some of the comedians are gimmicky, like Aziz Ansari is pretty gimmicky. Bo Burnham's kind of gimmicky because it's like the entire musical thing. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I don't believe PC culture should be a limiter for people who are truly talented, because if the only thing that you can really do is make fun of other people, then, like, are you really funny?
Yes. Yes, I'm still funny. Still funny as fuck.
Not necessarily.
No, but because I make fun of people equally, then it's not just one group. It's me making world observations. You just are the group that is most sensitive to this.
I don't think people are necessarily upset about observations.
If Dave Chappelle wasn't as famous and powerful as he is today, and let's say a newer comic did those jokes, they wouldn't have survived that.
Yeah, like Louis
But
C.K.
that didn't take away from the quality of the fucking jokes.
Yeah, Louis C.K. got this whole thing where he say faggot really fucking hard, and he was like, I'm not necessarily calling you gay, just you doing some faggoty shit. That was in 2009. Would that be able to fly today? Absolutely not. But it was funny as fuck. And no one can say the word anymore because everybody afraid to offend somebody. But if that's not what comedy is, like, how can you control what offend somebody else? Like, that's not really that, like, a comedian should not have to worry about that. Anybody shouldn't have to worry about offending somebody else because you're going to be offended. Somebody's going to offend you along the way. And why do we have to protect each other from being so fucking offended?
I'm not necessarily saying you have to protect other people from doing it, but if you're willing to say it, that means you should be willing to deal with the repercussions for saying it.
Yeah, but saying the word faggot then has different repercussions than it does now. You can't fucking for real say it like everyone's like, can we say the word faggot around you? Like everyone's kind of...
You can say it. Like, that's the thing. It's like, no one, like, I get what you're saying. It's just like, you don't want to offend that person, but at that point, if you care that much about offending that person, then why would, and you believe that it would, why would you even ask the question to begin with? Mm-hmm. It's like, you care about the person, obviously, because you care if they're offended. Or
the comedians ain't allowed that luxury to pin down everybody that's going to be offended by their jokes they make about whatever race they choose to make about fat people, skinny people, dumb people. They don't have that luxury to pinpoint, hello, would it be okay if I talk about these things in my fucking comedy act?
I mean,
nobody got that luxury. Nobody got the time. When and where in history has that ever been a thing?
It's like, that's the thing. It's for certain things, like, I don't really feel like when people make jokes about fat people, I don't think people particularly care about that. And when I see people are like, "Oh, you're just fat shaming," it's just like, that's an entirely stupid question, and you guys are trying to turn yourselves into a minority group. Go sit down somewhere. Like saying something that you can reasonably control, and if you wanted to change, you might actually be able to change. Depending upon who you are, you might not be able to change it because of some random reason. But generally, for most big people, I can control how big I am. If I really wanted to diet and change this, I could change it. But it's just like, for things that you can't change, I can kind of get it. But and then for some comedians, it's just like, how can you like, for a white comedian reflecting on black people, it's just like, there's different types of ways of going about it. Like, I think Bill Burr does it inside a completely and totally reasonable way, because it's like, you're reflecting on this because it's like, you are experiencing this culture that is truly alien to you, and you don't, it's like, you're always coming at it from a perspective like, I don't like understand.
Gary do that too.
It's just like, and I feel like the perspectives
I really like Gary Owen.
I feel like
he might be my top.
That might be your 5.
Yeah.
He might be in the top 10. He in my top 5.
It's probably Chris Rock over him if I'm judging like overall, but just the Chris Rock over him.
Also, I do believe that list I was looking at had Chris Rock lower than Kevin Hart, and I'm like, you guys have lost your ever loving fucking mind. But anyway, it's one of those things where it's just like,
John Mulaney number 5, y'all. John Mulaney definitely on the top 5. Sorry.
I would just say, if your perspective, and you're really good at this, and you're really good at seeing things from different perspectives, I do believe that you can almost spin a story. And like, there's always going to be someone who probably gets offended about everything, but I think you could spin it inside of a way to the point where it's artful enough, to the point where like, people can look at it and like, no, that's just a really good joke. Like the letter people joke. That was a really good joke.
Yeah, but my point stands. Like, a newer comedian couldn't survive doing those.
Yeah,
and
the
that's
fact
the
that
issue.
you have to think about that so fucking much now is an issue to the art form. I'll say that much. It's definitely changing.
I don't think the regular person needs like the just freedom to just say whatever they want willy-nilly. That's not necessary. That's not what I'm talking about. But I do think that allowing comedians who are generally the ones like the jesters did in the court.
Yeah, didn't they have to make fun of like the kings and queens?
Yeah, they
made fun of everyone equally, including themselves.
Yeah, they are the ones that point out what's actually wrong and things like that, but say it in a way that allows you to laugh, but recognize like, hey, that it's funny, but let me think about that a little more, because that's kind of fucked up too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the whole point, which is why comedy is so fucking important, to laugh at your flaws is terribly important. To laugh, like you said, the commentary, when Tony was talking about Dave Chappelle coming on for his commentary on whatever issue he was talking about, to want to laugh at that's incredibly pivotal to just having a sane existence in this bitch. And the fact that we just you can't laugh at this, you can't say that, you can't do this, and then you got a whole bunch of people, regardless of whatever the consequences is, regardless of how you feel about if you choose one particular niche to make fun of. The point when you go to a comedy show is to let go of that shit for a fucking hour, or for 15 minutes, or for 20 minutes, and to really look at it and be like, this ain't really that big of a deal, or to let it the fuck go. Like, what is the point of comedy? If you can't have that, then what the fuck is going to be considered funny anymore?
I mean,
you can't laugh at yourself now? You know what I'm saying? We can't laugh
that's the thing. It's like, for them, and for a lot of people, it's not you laughing at yourself, because you're not them. You're laughing at them. You're not necessarily laughing with them.
But you pointing out a flaw and you turning it around and make it fucking hilarious.
It's like,
and if you offended by that, that's not really their fault. That's
because like the entire Dave Chappelle commentary literally was, for the most part, is like, hey, look at these letter people, but the tease we not really trying to fuck with. If the funny thing about it, there are a lot of people who describe themselves as that, but they actually, for the most part, don't fuck with transgender people. It's like, it's a factual thing, and it's just like, a lot of people got offended about that, but to a certain degree, a hit dog don't holler at some point, and it's just like, oh, well, it's just like, why are y'all all so offended about this? This doesn't really happen, does it? I mean, some people, but not all people. It's just like, a lot of y'all gay white dudes did like roll with this Trump dude, didn't y'all? Why are y'all pointing out all of these little sketchy things that we might not be pro everybody's rights? We're just pro our own. And I don't really see, I guess, that level of reflection in just like certain things. Like even with the Louis C.K. joke, it makes a certain degree of sense because it's just like, oh, well, it's just like you're brandishing about. It's just like how can an action actually be gay? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, he was just saying like when you use that word, it's not derogatory. It's just like you being, but you have to know the subtle nuances of that story. Like I grew up with a lot of brothers, and I got called faggot many a times, and I would have to call them back too. Like you getting beat up and they punch you in the head or some weird shit, like. But that's just the subtle nuances that comedians bring out. I knew what he was talking about. For somebody else to be like, I just don't like using that word. Okay, you don't like using that word. Go be offended. I don't know what you want me to do about it.
I mean, for the thing with almost all stand-up, that's the thing is, you can opt out of it. And you can get up and you can walk away.
And the fact that I have to hear these people whine, it's such a collective movement. The media is trying to say that these things are not funny and everything is racist, transphobic, homophobic. Everything is these fucking phobic things all of a sudden, and is being shrouded on different parts of the media. Not just comedians are suffering from this, but all different aspects where you can't say this, you can't say that. For either side of the races, you can't say any and do anything because PC culture is definitely weird as fucking head to like a super extreme where, like I said, you just gonna be extra scrutinized. Not that you wouldn't have been scrutinized before, but these things have gone to the extreme where it's like, well, what the fuck? How you control how offended somebody's gonna be, and who's the fucking offense police? Like, I mean, it's just, I get it. Like they got a right to be, and you can go on your Twitter and do all the other shit, but when it come down to like just regular comedy, my nigga, like that's what the fuck they do. It's their job. I don't understand. Help me understand.
I mean, I don't feel like the normal generic comic that you go down to the what's the name of the local comedy place in Cleveland? I forget the
Improv.
Yeah, the Improv. There we go. Because the funny thing is, I know the manager of the Improv, but going down there is just like for the general people. I don't like. I don't ever remember everyone who I've seen at the Improv. So I was like, I don't necessarily think, and as it stands, you're not really supposed to be filming the stand-up with your phone anyway. So
yeah, just seeing things like that where just being on your phone to record a comic, for what? That takes away from your experience, because why are you watching this dude that's literally in front of you from on your fucking phone?
You're really not supposed to film the comic, because this is actually, one, what you're doing is technically illegal, because all these jokes and all these bits, they're property.
Yeah, and it's not like music where you could just repeatedly enjoy the song. Once you've used the joke, its effectiveness does start to diminish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if you go out here and you circulate, like and then the typical thing about it is, inside of those situations, they never actually play the entire bit. They always kind of play the bit out of context, or it's just like, well, this is a part of an entire 15-minute bit. If you listen to the entire bit,
it makes a lot of sense.
But
got some good points here.
for the general person, for like the general guy, is just like, oh, well, this was an entire bit. And most people, if you just apologize, you just roll. Like, I made this joke.
Why should I have to apologize?
Because you want to make money.
No, I'm not saying sorry for the shit that I put my work into. Even if I did, I'm not fucking saying sorry.
I mean, like, I'm not a comedian, so I just don't, and I don't necessarily have, like, an introspective opinion on, like, saying certain things. So that's why I'm just cool with, like, going with whatever you want to be called or whatever words you don't want me to use. Those are fine. Because I'm not really trying to say anything by using them. But I don't think that comedians should have to apologize. We all liked it. If you said it back in the day and we all liked it, How the fuck we gonna come and be like, you know, we don't like that no more.
Yeah, today it's just not
now
cool
we mad
no
at
more.
you. What?
I still listen. Is like acknowledging something is problematic is not the same as saying it shouldn't exist. For Eddie Murphy, a lot of Eddie Murphy's old concept is just like he looked at that like, yeah, that shit's kind of problematic, but it exists, and it is kind of it is a thesis in doing comedy, and for that, and it's still kind of funny to this day. Like, it's fine, but I can acknowledge that these jokes were problematic at that point in time, and just like we can move on, and people moved on from that Eddie Murphy situation, and people looked at the Dave Chappelle thing, and because everyone was able to go through and consume that for the most part, they looked at the entire joke. It is just like, yeah, I mean, when you describe, it's like, we're not just letters. It's just like, well, we get that, but it's also, one, it's starting to get to the point where it's impossible to know what all, like, when you stuck a plus on the end of it, a lot of people was just kind of like, well, we're just including everyone. What does the plus mean? What's going on here? And it's just like, he's pointing out, he's reflecting, and also pointing out the fact that they kind of treat trans people like trash, because they just kind of do. They all kind of treat them like J.K. Rowling in general. Like, not every single person, but some people view them as kind of sliding back on that given thing. But
even if you had the word problematic, who the fuck is determining what's problematic? First of all, it's just random motherfuckers saying.
Is it problematic that I did something in the past that didn't cause any problems, but now
you making it a problem by saying it's problematic?
I'm cool and not doing any of those things. But you're upset about something that I did in the past that didn't cause any issues, and realistically, you highlighting it and bringing it up is
the problematic thing.
Is bringing more attention to it than it being something that was old. People knew I did it and didn't really necessarily remember this one portion that you're upset about now, that you've re-shown and reintroduced to the populace.
I mean,
did they just cherry pick what the fuck is problematic, and then they try to convince the whole world that it's problematic? Get the fuck out of my face with this shit. It's problematic to your small group. Yeah, sure. And you're offended. All right. I don't know what the fuck you want me to do with hurt feelings. That's why I go to saying, like, I don't think it's an issue with toxic masculinity or none of that. It's a lack of masculinity, because only a female would try to protect your feelings all the time. That's what I do for my daughter. This is what we do into society, trying to protect somebody else's feelings all the fucking time. You can't do it. I'm sorry. There's no one saying, like, stop with this shit, man. I get it. I don't want to offend you, but you're going to have to stop him and hawing about what's so problematic, what's causing this. We can't say this. We can't do that. Don't do this. It's transphobic. It's homophobic. This. Everything seems like a fucking red tape around it, and it's a little excessive. I'll say that. It's not a problem to state that you have an issue with it. And if you're feeling, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're feeling victimized by it, then you can say, obviously. But this red tape, this excessive amount of red tape of what's going on is the problem to me.
Well, I mean, I guess it comes down to, I see this in ultimately two lights for this. If you don't say anything, everyone's going to assume it's okay. Mm-hmm. So you gotta say something, but saying it and then they keep doing it, you're ultimately not getting the result that you like. This isn't really getting across. So now they're gonna scream.
They can't stop. They don't have to stop for you. What does that
but that's
prove?
that's the other thing. The other group, the small group, doesn't have to stop for them either. Mm-hmm. So if they yell and they cause you to lose your job, if you're not obligated or there's no social obligation for them to act, if they're not on any protections, neither is the other group as of this point. It's like either we all operate on the same playing field or there's some general protections and things of that nature. It's like,
that's not how it works.
What? It's like, I mean, ultimately they're kind of playing on the same field, because if one side does something fucked up, they can get in as much trouble or put on blast or put on social media like anybody else does. It's like, I mean, for Kevin Hart, like, he didn't do the Oscars or something like that, or Emmys or something, because someone brought up some old jokes that he did, and he's like, I've been apologized for these. I'm not going to keep apologizing for them. And at that point, I think he's completely and totally vindicated, because he did apologize, and it seemed like he was legitimately like, yeah, I really didn't understand what I was doing at that point in time, and I understand that what I did harmed some people, and I'm sorry for that. Now, for people continuously to bring it up, it's pretty much just bad faith actors.
But the fact that they keep getting, like, would have Kevin have done that and did the Oscars if he wasn't at that level of scrutiny? The fact that they keep causing havoc in that way is an issue to me. Like I said, as far as, like, sexual harassment goes and things like that, that's a whole different level playing field. But saying something and offending a few people, and then your career is affected by it, is a total whole fucking ballgame. Your actions, like I said, I can't excuse sexual harassment and things like that. I don't know what the fuck going on with that. So I'm not saying nobody's not innocent or innocent on those parts. Not my fucking game. But for Kevin to not do the show and then to apologize for it, like...
Well, he had already apologized prior to that. That's kind of the problem with the Oscars.
And I get it, and he kept trying to apologize, but the fact that he didn't do the show is something else that they have lost control on that side. And it's just like, well, you can ruin a whole man's career from when he said something from 5 years ago. Even after you apologized for it, he didn't do the Oscars.
I mean, I don't think you're paid for doing the Oscars, so doing the Oscars isn't really...
Well, no, it was his goal. It was one of his goals.
I mean, and I also believe he voluntarily stepped down. He didn't actually...
Because he said so what happened is, they said, you got to apologize. He said, I've already apologized for this. I'm not apologizing. And so he said, y'all can keep the Oscars if that's what it's contingent on. If it's contingent on me apologizing. Then more social pressure happened, and then he just started apologizing, but also didn't do the Oscars.
That's exactly what happened.
I mean, as of that point, he should have just stuck to it and just retweeted his own apology and be like, this has already happened, but you just decided to discover it. If what I said then is good, my apologies from the past are also good.
But it wasn't good enough for
anyone.
But it's just like, at some point you kind of got to sort out bad faith actors who are just trying to be angry about things, and bad faith and people who are legitimately offended.
Discern between that now.
I think I could say,
so the mass populace, like you had to do from me earlier, the mass populace is not looking for bad faith actors.
They're not. They're just looking to affirm what they want to hear. And they're taking this small section and blowing it up to make it seem like this is everyone's opinion. Well, it has to be yours now.
Well, it's just like, as it stands, I definitely don't think, based upon what happened inside of our prior election, I don't think it's like barely half the people in the world probably think like that. It's like there's an entire social media site based on the fact that for people who don't necessarily think the same, there should be there should be safe spaces in general. Like, they're anti-safe space, even though they're making an entire social media place for themselves.
On that one, but I kind of fuck with that. Why do you need a safe space? What was my safe space granted? From what? For what do you need the extra safe space from? What? For what? Someone help me understand. Why?
It's one of those... it's a really weird, slippery conversation about, well, you shouldn't have spaces. That means you're going to make your own safe space for...
Make your house your safe space. Why do the whole world got to conform because you feeling a little sensitive about the decision you made?
I don't think anybody has to really conform or anything. I just think there's,
But that's what they doing. They trying to convince me that they need a safe space. Take you and your friends to go make a safe space. You can get a loan. You can take one of them abandoned buildings and just tell people, come on to our safe space. Why are you trying to convince the entire country that you need this? For what? Nigga, do you want the safe space or not? Why are you trying to go in my face and to convince you that you need the safe space? For what?
It's for me, it's me looking at Facebook and reflecting on that. It's like, people are leaving Facebook because they believe that they are being edited and so on and so forth, and they're going over to another site that said they won't edit them, but again, it's like a completely and totally insular social media app to the point where it becomes a safe space for no safe spaces, because they say this isn't a safe space, but whenever anyone challenged them about, well, why do you even need to say these things, it's just like, I should just be able to say them because I can't say them. It's just like, and then they get offended because people are challenging them, so they end up creating their own safe space. I mean, people who are anti something typically end up creating something that's pretty close to it in order to get and end
like
up
in
with
Fight
the same.
Club. He was so anti everything that he said, and he became exactly what he was anti against. But then again, if you create a safe space, where's your growth? If you just got people coddling you all the time and telling you not to feel bad feelings and that's okay that you did that, when really in reality what you probably did might have been toxic as fuck. You denying your humanity by creating a safe space. You denying your growth, man. That's not the fucking point of life. Point of life is to suffer so you can grow from it, not to be safe. What the
I don't
fuck?
necessarily think the point of life is suffering.
What?
It's like,
How do you grow?
How do I grow? Learning.
From what? A good situation or a bad situation?
You see, I have this unique ability for when someone actually tells me or talks to me about it, or like experiences something bad and they tell me about it, I typically don't actually go do that thing for myself. I can learn from other people. I can watch someone touch an iron.
That's
and
not
learn
the question I asked you.
It's just like, how do I learn from watching other people suffer? It's just like, man.
Okay, but you learned something from suffering.
Yeah,
it's my fucking
but
point.
not my suffering.
But you've done
I
bad
don't have to
things.
suffer.
Just like we was talking about dealing with women earlier. You've done something that you saw gave you a negative that's something that was pretty negative, and you saw like that was bad fucking Charles.
Yeah,
And
I
you
mean,
had to
I'm
go
going to
from
make
that.
bad decisions, and I'm going to learn from those bad
So
decisions.
is that not life? I don't
mean,
see it any other way. I'm not trying to be like a Debbie Downer, but how else do you learn and grow as a human? Bad things have to happen to you.
From other people, from actually looking at history, there's a lot of ways to grow.
Bad things had to happen, not to you, Charles, but bad things had to happen. In order
Yeah,
for
I mean, bad things.
growth to come. So what is life, but not?
I mean,
that?
I also think you can learn from successes too.
Yeah, but you had to get to the point to get to that success. We just talked about all the work you had to put in to get successful.
I mean, when I look at software organizations like Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that, it's just like, at no point was there like this resounding failure that they, or Google or anything like that. I don't look
It might not be a failure, but it's still not easy to run these gigantic billionaire. You think it's easy to run those billionaire companies? No. There's a level of suffering that you got to put yourself through to get to keep that shit going.
It's just like, oh, you just kind of gotta hit. You have to hit on so many decisions. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And
That
I don't
can't
really.
be easy.
I mean, I don't look at it every single missed decision as suffering, because for a lot of my decisions,
too hard of a word. Hard. I would just say hard. Life is hard.
I mean, life ain't easy. No, it isn't, because there's no real safety net for it necessarily. But
exactly. So why should people who ask for safe space be granted a safe space? My nigga, you can't.
I mean, a lot of the times people go out of their way to go, but it's like they have created safe spaces for themselves. So I'm not going to seek out these safe spaces
for yourself, but don't be asking the entire world to create one for you.
I don't think I don't think everyone is asking for the entire world to be a safe space. They have created safe spaces for themselves that they can go to.
Then how do we know about safe spaces to begin with?
Because because people advertise them, because it's good marketing. They say we have a safe space for people to be understood in the LGBTQIA plus community. And here it is. And look at it.
That sounds like you got a good grade.
What?
He just ended with the A+ community. He said all the other letters, but the fact that it ends with A+, just sounds like you got a good grade.
It's like, oh.
You know what grade you got? So what are the letters again?
LGBTQIA.
A plus. See, yeah. Then you got to edit. He say, know what grade you got? And then he just go right off all the letters.
It's a gang. Like,
it's just like, I don't know. It's just in my head, because I know people I know someone from pretty much all of those letters as of this point, but Kent is
What's
like
the plus?
Everything that has yet to be created that needs to be included. I know you looking at me like that is the wildest thing I have ever heard inside of my thing.
When we see one, They rep they set LGB whatever.
He said.
And then you just add things.
You know what that's like? You know what y'all can't think about? Y'all can't think about the concept of nothingness. The human brain can't process it.
Not at all.
I don't know. It's like I have my own individual questions about all of this thing. Because for me, like when I talk to a trans person, it's just like it feels like I'm inside my right body. I don't even know what being a dude feels like. It just feels like being me.
I actually watched Detransitioners where they said that their mind was still intrinsically man or women. They just don't know. They had to go to additional therapy, but when they transitioned back to what they was, they would say like, no, my mind was very manly, like, or my woman was still a woman, even though I look like a man. They was whatever the fuck that is, I don't know. But
it's like it's just something. It's a fundamental concept that I am incapable of understanding because I have never been. It's a mindset I just don't get. And it's just like, I look at it, it's just like, you know what? I don't think anyone could ever really understand what it's really like to be black if you're not black.
Yeah, that's like,
and even for other minorities.
What it's like to be white.
And that's the reason why I just kind of give other people the benefit of the doubt for the most part when they don't want to be called something or they don't want to hear something. It's just like, I don't know what it's like to be you. Like, but I also know what it's like to be like, to have some random white person brandishing about saying nigga all the time is just like, my friend said I could say it. Well, your friend got you punched in the face.
Yeah.
It's just like, and if I can feel that way about that word, then other people can feel that way about other words. Like, it's like, you the one who got punched, that's the repercussions for your actions. Now, do you understand why you shouldn't say that word? Because I might get punched in the face. I mean, if that's what you're going to take from it, so be it.
That was a unique spiral of a conversation from comedy. Look at that. Comedy went into like being able to speak freely and all kinds of things.
No one's stopping people's right to speak freely. They're just repercussions.
Yeah,
and also, hate speech isn't actually protected by the freedom of speech.
Oh, are you done, Ash?
You thought you were going to escape without doing your subject?
We don't got
the headphones back on.
We don't have to do your subject. I just making sure that we were.
Yes, we are.
Are we doing
the 2-hour mark? Okay. I have nothing left to say.
Literally.
Yeah, I figured because I was like, y'all are going back and forth with this. I was like, all right, look at that.
Yeah.
Had a good debate on like keeping things safe.
Cyber Monday.
It is Cyber Monday. Welcome to Conscious Reconstruction Cyber Monday sale. Get your Conscious Reconstruction
likes,
streams, and likes.
Give them to
free.
us.
All you gotta do is go to the Conscious Reconstruction Instagram or Spotify or on Apple Podcasts,
Spotify,
anywhere you want to, Recon, and get you some of this Conscious Reconstruction. We on sale all day for the free $99. So like, subscribe, and make sure you share, even if you don't want to.
We should start charging a penny for people liking our stuff, so it means they can perceive added value to it. And then when we offer it for free likes, they'll really be liking.
Nah, I'ma charge everybody that don't share it a penny. Every day that you don't share it.
You have to,
and it's compounding for every episode.
You know what? It would be very, very odd if I created a platform that requires you to share and like the thing before you actually listen to it.
That would be hilarious. But all right, we're out of here.
Ultimate market penetration.
For the real.